Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is just going to be one where I talk about my birth story. Or not my birth story, but Winnie's birth story. I will show her later on in this video, and the portion where I show her to you guys and introduce you guys to her, I filmed for my other channel, so it might seem kind of out of place or broken up because I'm just going to insert that clip into this video because she was kind of not feeling being in front of the camera. And so I didn't want to make her do it again for this video, so I hope you understand that. So I will go ahead and introduce her to you guys now. So this is Winnie. This is Winnie Stockton Allen, because that is our last name. As you can tell, she is pretty jaundiced, especially when you're comparing her skin with my skin. But you know, it's nothing real dangerous. We're going to go to the doctor tomorrow and get some info on how to fix that. But she's dead asleep. She loves sleeping on her hands. She doesn't ever just sleep regular, so. But she's just super happy most of the time. And she just eats, sleeps, and poops. That's basically all she does. But she does all three things pretty well. Oh look, she's gonna wake up for a second and say hi to you guys. And she's got blonde hair, which I didn't think she was gonna have any hair, so that's pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, she's also a little diva too. She has a cute, high-pitched little voice. Sounds exactly like a little girl, which is good. And she's currently being super weird with this pouch. Okay, so there's One-Eyed Winnie. That's what we call her because she goes like this a lot. Yeah. So I don't know what I am going to repeat from that clip, but first of all, let's start with the stats. Winnie was born on June 21st, which is last Tuesday. She's almost a week old because I'm filming this on Monday night. She was 6 pounds 7 ounces. She was 2 weeks early because my original due date was on July 3rd, so she was she was 2 weeks early, so she was a little bit on the smaller side, which is fine though. 6 pounds 7 ounces, 19 3/4 inches long, and she was born at 7:06 p.m. Her full name is Winnie Stockton Allen. Stockton, the name Winnie, of course, I told you guys this on my channel, like that was going to be her first name for a long time. It's just a name that I liked a lot. It's old-fashioned and not a lot of people have it, so I love it. And the middle name Stockton, for those of you who do not know, we didn't pick it until I was in labor, and I had a really slow labor, spoiler alert, so we had a lot of time. But that's when we picked it, or my husband picked it. But Stockton comes from John Stockton, who was an NBA player for the Utah Jazz in the, I guess late 80s and 90s. Stockton and Karl Malone, they were the famous duo for the Utah Jazz. And my husband is a diehard Utah Jazz fan, and so he chose the middle name Stockton. Not to mention, our room number that we were in for labor and delivery was room 12, which is John Stockton's number. And it was 2 days before the NBA draft, in which the Utah Jazz this year had the pick number 12. So we just kind of felt like it was a sign. Also, my husband Ryan has just been dying to do that. So, and also another spoiler alert for future children. We already know that whether it be a boy or a girl, the middle name for the next child is going to be Malone. So we could have Stockton and Malone. Super geeky, and you may think I'm mean for doing that, but I also kind of think it's cool. Even though I'm not as big of a Jazz fan as my husband, I think it's pretty cool. So that's where her name came from. And those are her stats. We didn't have any complications with her in the hospital like we were expecting to, since she was small. But we did have, well, I guess we did, there was some complications. That's why I had to go into labor earlier than my body was not ready to go into labor. Not at all. That's why it took so long. So here's the birth story. So on Friday, the previous Friday before last Tuesday, I had a doctor's appointment, just a regular checkup, and they told me that my amniotic fluid levels were kind of low. They had gone from a 8.4 to a 7.2, or 8.2 to 7.4. Anyways, it had decreased a little bit since the last time they saw me. And so the doctor said, you know, make an appointment for Monday, and we're going to check them again to see if they've decreased again. So I came in on the Monday, which was the 20th, and I came in, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning for my appointment. I had my mom with me, which is the first time my mom had ever come to an appointment with me. I was having an ultrasound, and so I just thought she might want to see that, and you know, it might be fun. So she came with me, and thank goodness she did, because at that appointment they said that my amniotic fluid levels had dropped from a 7.2 to, over the weekend, it had dropped down to a 4. And once it gets below a 5, they consider it kind of dangerous and they have to induce you. So the doctor informed me that Winnie was going to be born soon. They were going to induce me that day. So, but since it wasn't like it wasn't like I had to go right then type of thing, like my water wasn't broken. She checked my cervix. I was not dilated. I was like 1 centimeter, and my cervix was still really thick. So like my body was just not gonna go into labor anytime soon on its own. So the doctor said I could go home and get all my hospital bags and stuff because I didn't have any of it with me. Ryan was at work, but I had my mom with me, so we went home, got all my stuff, took the dog to the boarding place, and then we went, and my doctor told me to go and get some food because I was in for a long couple of days. So anyways, we went and got food beforehand because my doctor, she's like, she said, don't tell the hospital nurses I told you this, but you should go eat beforehand because it's going to be a long time before you can eat again. And she was very right. So I went and ate Panera. I tried to get something that was, like, in case I threw up, something that was easy to throw up. So I got some of the Panera mac and cheese, soft, love it. And then I had a smoothie. So it was pretty good. And I'm so glad I did that. And then went straight to the hospital when we checked in there. And then they got me started on Servidol. And if you don't know what that is, I don't really know what it is either, to be honest. But it's just like it looks like a little piece of paper that they put on your cervix. It's got like medicine on it somehow, and it is meant to ripen or soften your cervix to prepare for Pitocin. So this is like an extra step. Like, I was so not ready. My body was so not ready to give birth on its own that they had to do this extra step before they even induced with the Pitocin. So, and the Servidol takes, you have to leave it on for 12 hours. So that's actually the main reason why my whole labor journey experience was, just for the record, it was 28 hours. I was in labor and delivery room for 28 hours. So we got there at like 1, they put it on at 3, and then I basically just sat there until 4 a.m. the next morning when they could take it out and start me on Pitocin. So, and as far as like we didn't really do anything. We watched TV. I tried to sleep. It was pretty much impossible. I wasn't feeling really any pain. It's with that thing, because it's kind of like a tampon, like the string kind of hangs out a little bit. So it was like really uncomfortable to go to the bathroom. I had to call the nurse in every time I had to go because I had all my IVs, and I had no idea, like no one told me this, how many things get hooked up to you when you're in labor and delivery. I had an IV, my hole is still there from the IV, and that hurt. Oh my gosh, that IV hurt putting it in. But I had the IV, I had the 2 monitors, one for contractions, one for the baby's heartbeat. And then I eventually had the epidural, and then I had, what else did I have? Oh, and then I had little heart pieces that go along with the epidural to monitor your heart, and then I had the blood pressure cuff. So, yeah, I had like 50,000 things hooked up to me, so I had to have help from the nurse every time I had to go to the bathroom, which is a lot, by the way, because they had the IV inside of me, and it was making me have to go to the bathroom a ton. So that was that, and then once it was 4 a.m., they finally took out the Servidol thing, and then they started me on Pitocin. And I assumed, oh, this is going to be awesome, like I'll have the baby in the early morning, or like, you know, by 10 a.m., I was very, very wrong. I did not have the baby until 7 o'clock the next day, so that was many more hours of actual labor because the Servidol didn't really make me feel any pain. But the Pitocin definitely got the contractions going and things. And this whole time I'm only eating ice, which sucks so bad. I was so mad about only being able to eat ice. Like, I just wanted a drink of water and I couldn't even have that. Anyways. So they started the Pitocin, and then it was just basically a waiting game. I remember feeling the contractions for the first time because I had not felt any Braxton Hicks or anything before this. And it just felt like a tightening of my stomach. At first it wasn't really painful, it was just kind of like a tight feeling. And then as it got later and later, I started to feel pain. My mother was there with me in the labor and delivery room, as well as Ryan. He was there the whole time. My mother came in and visited periodically until she got tired of waiting, because it was like the world's longest labor. As it started to get more painful to where like I couldn't talk through it anymore, I decided to get the epidural, but I knew like I was 100% getting the epidural because I'm a huge baby and I can't handle pain. But I was like 4 or 5 centimeters dilated and then asked for the epidural. The anesthesiologist was really funny. When they were putting in that epidural, I can't even just thinking about the pain that I felt when they were putting it in. It makes me, like right now, my body is just like shivering. I'm so glad I got it, because the after effect is so worth it. But I heard that they're not supposed to hurt, and I was talking to the little nurse that was helping with the anesthesiologist, like his assistant or whatever, and I was making these terrible faces because it was hurting so bad. I felt like he was stabbing a knife down me, which he kind of was. But I said, is it supposed to hurt this much? And then I hear the anesthesiologist behind me say, not if you do it right, or not if I do it right. And I think I kind of hurt his feelings, and I feel bad about that. But I mean, it was hurting, so whatever. But after he got it in and the medicine started kicking in, oh my gosh, it's like instant relief, and I felt so good. Like I wish I could kind of have that every day, because it relaxes your legs, and it was so easy to sleep. Like I could finally get some rest. But they kept coming and checking me, and I wasn't really making tons of progress, so they gave me the peanut ball. And the peanut ball really helped to speed things up. So, and it was really comfortable to use. Although after I had gotten the peanut ball after I already had the epidural, so anytime I needed to change positions, because they make you change every 30 minutes to make you change positions. I couldn't feel my legs or move them really at all. My right side was definitely more numb than my left. But the nurse had to like roll me over like a freaking bowling pin or something. Oh, I forgot to mention, before I got the epidural, they had to break my water. And my mom was thinking this is really weird. They did not break my water till after they gave me the Pitocin, and they waited quite a while to do it. And that's kind of why the labor lasted a long time as well. And that was pretty painful. It was not the most painful thing though. But I did not like that feeling. It was not cool. Anyways, back to the part that I was talking about. So I was doing the peanut ball, and then I started noticing amongst all my epidural bliss that my left side, I was starting to feel sensation in it again. Not terrible at first, and they give you the little pump where you can give yourself doses of the medicine. It's controlled to where you can't overdose. But I was pushing it, and I had pushed it twice already. Within the amount of time they tell you to push it, like you have to wait every 15 minutes to push it again. And I was trying to be a trooper, but it was just started hurting so bad. Like the medicine on my left side was completely wearing off, and I was feeling full force of those contractions. I was probably around 7 or 8 or 9 centimeters dilated at the time. And so it was really, really uncomfortable. And so I called the nurse in and I was like, okay, this isn't working. What's the deal? And she said to push it 2 more times. And so I was like, oh, this medicine isn't working, but whatever. But she wouldn't call the anesthesiologist until I had tried it the extra doses of epidural medicine 2 more times. So I had to sit through the freaking pain on my left side for 30 more minutes. And then she finally called the anesthesiologist back in. It was a different guy at this time because shift changes. And he was asking me questions. He was kind of being cheeky with me, like whatever. But I told my left side I could feel every single thing. My right side, though, was completely numb. Couldn't move my leg at all. I could barely wiggle my toes, but that's about it. So my left side, I could feel every single pain, ache thing that there was to feel. And so he came in, and I don't know exactly what he did because he didn't do anything to my epidural hole in the back. He just added a different medicine or something to the IV, and the epidural IV, sorry. And I felt it immediately. He told me I wasn't going to, but I did feel a change immediately in my left side. And it turns out that when I had asked for that medicine was just in time, because they went and checked me for dilation like 10 minutes after he had left, and they said it was time to start pushing. So I literally got this last dose of anesthesia right before I would have started feeling everything terrible. And I'm so glad, because it was so like fresh in my body during this whole pushing stage. I couldn't feel a single thing. I couldn't feel pain. I couldn't feel pressure. I felt like it was someone else's body from there down. And I was just sitting there watching it. Like I couldn't move anything. I just couldn't. I can't believe that I couldn't feel a single sensation down there. But I'm also very glad. And I think it had everything to do with the fact that he just barely had given me that dose of other medicine. I don't even know what he gave me, to be honest. But, so we came in, I was ready to push. I only pushed for 15 minutes, and Winnie was out. I had told my mom and Ryan at the beginning of labor, like, when it's time to push, I'm not pushing him for very long, because I'm just not. You can ask them. I told them that was my goal, and I didn't push for very long. 15 minutes and she was out. The medicine also kind of affected my tiredness, which I think the epidural is supposed to do, kind of. It made me really sluggish, and I was like this the entire delivery. I was pretty out of it the entire time. I was aware of what was going on, and I was very happy to see Winnie and things. I couldn't express it, though. I felt like I was super drugged up. On the inside, I could feel all these things, though. And then I remember the very first thing the doctor said was, "Oh my gosh, look at all that bleach blonde curly hair." And I remember thinking, what? There's no way. Because I told you guys in all my updates, there's no way Winnie's having hair, because both Ryan and I were born with no hair. And I didn't have hair until I was like 3, so. But sure enough, she came out. She kind of lost some of the color and some of it now when you saw her earlier. But when she was born in her newborn pictures, she's got bleach blonde curly hair, like a lot of it. And I remember thinking that is just the darndest thing that she's got that. And so they placed her right up on my chest, because they do kangaroo care there. And I got to hold her and cuddle with her and meet her for the first time. And it was awesome. I did, as far as like anything afterwards, I did have a 2nd-degree tear, and so I had to get some stitches, but again, I didn't feel any of that, and I don't really care about it. They did all the, stuff they do with her, and then, actually, my mom was waiting in the waiting room, and so was Ryan's family, and so they all got to come in afterwards and see her, and it was a pretty awesome experience. Even though it was 28 hours, it was totally worth it. And Ryan, it was so funny, I remember asking Ryan as I was like totally drugged up after I had given birth, and she was over, they were doing something with her, I think they were doing her footprints or something, and I remember asking him, because he was standing right next to me, like, "Did you cry?" And he said no, but I almost did. I came this close to crying, which if you know Ryan, that's pretty special. And so then she was fine, there was nothing really wrong with her, so we got to go straight into our mother and baby care room. And I remember being so tired, so tired. And we had Winnie sleep in the nursery for the first night, and we did for the second night as well. But on the second night, I had just started to try to breastfeed her and things, and she wasn't getting very much, and we kind of had a struggle with that at first. We're good now, though. But the nurses, it was making me so mad. The nurses, I would say, "Okay, you can bring her in here when she's hungry and I'll feed her, but then please take her back, because I need my sleep really bad, and I have super high anxiety, and please take her to the nursery." So they said, "Okay, whatever." And so they brought her back, I swear to you, every 15 minutes. And they're like, "Oh, we can't soothe her in the nursery, so she must be hungry. Here you go." And I would be like, "Okay." So I tried to breastfeed her, and she didn't want to eat. They just didn't want to deal with a crying baby in the nursery, so they kept giving her to me. And so I got like no sleep at all. And I'm really upset about that, because like that's their job. Their job is to take care of the baby for the mother. Because for the health of the mother and for the baby, you should do that. But whatever. As far as recovery goes, afterwards, since this was my first child, I didn't know what to expect. They kept trying to give me Percocet. The doctor kept trying to push Percocet on me for recovery, and I kept telling her no. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I felt like even after all the anesthesia had worn off, the next day and everything, I didn't feel any pain. Like, it was kind of like I could notice something happened, in that area. Like, I didn't feel like nothing different there, but it wasn't really painful. And I just couldn't believe they were trying to push Percocet on me. I did not want to take that whatsoever. I was already, you know, had some experience with strong drugs the night before. Yeah, they took pretty good care of us there, that besides the nurses in the nursery, they just were not helpful in the slightest. But the pediatrician came and said everything was good. The hearing lady said her hearing was good. We had the hospital photographer come and take pictures, and I ended up loving them and bought them, or my mother-in-law bought them for us, which is so sweet of her because they're like the sweetest pictures ever, and I'm so happy to have them. And then we got to leave on Thursday, June 23rd, and we've been home ever since. The first night was really, really, really rough, and I don't know if I should go into that, but like, it was really, really bad. I had a meltdown. Ryan had to go to the store. It was just a sad night for everyone. I'm still very sleep deprived, but we're figuring it out, and each day I notice becomes a little bit easier. Because you just kind of learn your baby more. I think that's the hardest part about being a first-time mom, is that even if you've had experience with babies in the past, when it's your own, you just have to learn them. You have to learn what they prefer and what their personality is, and how to deal with certain situations with their personalities, and it takes, you know, some time to learn those things about your child. So, but I'm slowly learning, and I'm learning, you know, what works for her. And right now, we figured out breastfeeding, which is awesome, and we have our first appointment tomorrow. So I don't know which video I'm going to do next. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed already, so you can stay up to date on, this is kind of like my lifestyle vlogging channel, so anytime I do something with my family that I think is interesting, or I do something Winnie related, or I do like a baby haul, because I'm going to start doing those, showing you adorable baby things I've gotten from Etsy and stuff like that, then you should subscribe so you can get notified of the videos when they come out. But thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or I don't know, you just want to be nice. And leave any comments down below with any questions, or I don't know, anything you want to say, any advice you want to give me as a first-time mother would be awesome. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!